So I've been sitting on this video for a while. I'm at home today. The weather was crazy. I actually hydroplaned, and that was not fun. But thank goodness for traction support, right? Really, really good thing. Sorry, I'm moving my notes. So we ran into some issues with a site migration about, I want to say about 4 months ago. And this is usually caused by a 404 error. But there's ways around a 404, and we call those either 301s, which is a temporary direct, and then a 302, which is a permanent redirect. I could have those swapped, by the way. Those are really hard to remember off the back of my head. That being said, implemented a bunch of 301s to actually fix the conversion site. This is the #1 thing you want to do whenever you get a 404 error. But you just don't want to stop there, right? That's the first thing. The second thing you want to do is actually submit your new URLs that you've put in the 301 and the 302s to Google Search Console so that your sitemap is updated. 2B, you want to have your web developer actually develop breadcrumbs for a large site, and you want to make sure that they're dynamic and not static. If you have a static dynamic setup, that means you have to go in there manually and add more breadcrumbs. So it's best to find a really good and advanced website developer that can actually create you a dynamic breadcrumb list so that your site is navigational, not just for people, but also for bots, because it'll save you in the long run. So say you don't do any of those things, right, and you want to tackle it right after, what happens? Well, if you're running Google ad campaigns, then you're going to realize that you're not converting, you're not tracking, and that's really not the case. It's just Google doesn't know how to associate your website anymore. Yahoo doesn't know how to associate your website anymore, and Bing doesn't know how to associate your website anymore. Those steps that I just told you will prevent that from happening and give you a smooth sailing into your next basically journey for your website, since you would have just completed a site migration with anything like that, or even if you're just running into issues and you've done a really massive update. That being said, if you run into any other issues, the only thing I would suggest is redoing your 301s, because maybe you didn't redirect to the right URLs, and then you run into issues again. So what do you call an issue as far as a 301 issue when you've ran into a Google ad campaign non-converting situation? Well, you're going to call it a Google Click ID issue. And a Google Click ID issue is literally just that. It's unable to identify you, and it's unable to identify the Google ads with your website. To prevent a Google Click ID issue is to just make sure your 301 redirects are up to date, and to also make sure that your campaigns and advertising ads are up to date with those same URLs. If you don't do that, you won't be able to track.